Hi, we are Zach Shuard and Domokos David Gal, creators of Castle Siege. Castle Siege is a brand new collectible card game that will redefine the player experience and expectation they hold towards card games. With its great atmosphere and easy to learn but hard to master gameplay, it has a bit for every type of player. Be that the casual person who picks it up just to play a couple of games with their friends, or the hardcore gamer that works on the best way to approach every and each scenario to best their enemy. Castle Siege is a turn-based card game where each player has to build their army to destroy the opposing player's castle before they can defeat yours. But that's not all. There are a lot of ways to approach victory. You can reinforce your castle or build a village if you like, and you have the gold to do so. Can you outlast your enemy this way? There is only one way to find out. Defending is not your playstyle? Don't worry, there are 15 different units in the starter game set you can play in your army, with different characteristics and mechanics, from knights to archers to buildable structures like cannons and catapults. There are many characters and weaponry you can play, but what will be the best? Will that cannon synergize with the foot knight you just played? Our starter set contains all you need for hours of fun with your friends or family. And don't worry, other players will not have an advantage if they spend more money on different decks. We wanted to create a game where with one-time purchase you can play with your friends with no other purchasable items being needed. Therefore the game is played by one card deck. This way players have the equal opportunity to achieve victory regardless of the number of decks they purchased. Currently there is only the starter deck for Castle Siege, but we are planning on releasing new decks with improved characters and new gameplay mechanics based on our players' feedback. To achieve this, we would like to ask for your support. We would like to build a community for our game and an amazing future which brings us new adventures and ideas into the game. For this, we need your patronage to reach our goal and be able to produce our game to you.
Castle Siege is a deck building game where you have to defend and upgrade your castle throughout the game by creating an army to destroy the enemy castle. There are 3 decks, one with the money you use to create your army and upgrade your castle. The army deck, which is where you will buy your main cards from, and the building deck, which will upgrade your castle and economy, enabling the purchase of better cards. There is one resource in the form of gold in order to improve your castle and army in order to make the game simple enough that you only need one resource to play the game. I decided on using a castle as the base health of the player, different to other games in the genre, because you could change the way the game is played by using the castle as a way of upgrading and improving the health and economy of the player in order to continue to build your deck. We also decided to make it so that when a soldier dies in combat, they are dead for good, so as to not escalate the game beyond normal proportions. In Castle Siege, you are a medieval lord who is fighting another medieval lord, and need to use your money to build an army, upgrade your fortress, and defend your castle, as well as destroy the enemy's castle. Compared to similar games, Castle Siege is very similar with its use of an economy slowly building up a military in order to destroy the opponent, but goes about getting that money differently, with the use of buildings to generate a better economy. The use of the buildings creates a unique game with it being a bit more stable compared to some deck building games. The game principles being used in this game is the idea of an easy to learn but hard to master concept, with so many different cards having different strengths and weaknesses, and the use of the buildings being able to create a constant stream of money, as well as a one-time bonus to health, being able to give the players lots of variety in their playstyle when approaching the game. Another one would be the idea of having the players being able to customize their decks, with them being able to create a defensive deck focusing on protecting their castle, or going for a bunch of cheap cards and just swarming the enemy with low health units to create that sense of a swarm deck. This customization enables players to continually be invested in the game with the ever-changing landscape. This is also a game centered around community, bringing players together to play games that they like in a quick and easy format that shows the love people have for these types of games. Using this easy playstyle will enable players to have lots of fun with this game. We want the players to feel like a medieval lord controlling his lands and armies in order to conquer his enemies through his economy. We want to invoke excitement for the lovers of the medieval ages through the card designs and the way the game is played, as well as the ideas we have for the game in the future, such as the guard feature and new units and building cards, as well as an upgrade to how many players can play one game at a time, from 2 players to 4, creating a truly chaotic battlefield. The guard feature will enable players to set a card aside from combat, dealing no damage to the other player or his cards, but instead blocks all damage from the enemy's cards against the castle until the guard unit is killed. This enables players to adapt their playstyle to the atmosphere of the game and how the opposing player is going about the game. The art of the game is meant to be a reflection of the realism of medieval times with the different types of soldiers and weaponry, as well as buildings, but also to show the human imagination with the sometimes over-the-top designs of weapons such as the ballista. We tried to go for a combination of a dark, gritty fantasy card look of knights and soldiers, as well as the colourful, honor-bound sides of these majestic warriors, in order to create a good contrast between the different sides of the game. These character designs for the different units help give a variety to the decks with a range from the strong, bulky knights to the weak and scrawny peasants, as well as the busy ports and quiet villages. Using this art combined with the well-designed medieval text gives a true sense of being locked in combat in this time period fighting against rival lords. With the combination of a clear goal for the game, the art design, and the unique playstyle to it, we hope that Castle Siege will be a fun and loved game for a long time to come.